On today's show, Volvo goes LiDAR, there's a charging war in Australia, and we need to talk about home charging and retailers. G'day, my name's Chris, and I cover from an Australian perspective renewables like electric vehicles, wind, solar, battery storage, and more. If you're new to the channel, thanks for coming along. Consider subscribing, it's free. If you want to support the channel on the next level and get early access to news, polls, behind the scenes, and a lot more, consider joining me over here on Patreon, where you get all this from as little as $2.50 per month. And a big thank you to my producers Adam Tyson, Alan Burnt, Ashley Hill, Kayak Media Technology, MN ICT Specialist, Nigel Farrier, and Tess on the Gong. This being a longer show than norm, use the chapter markers to the story that you want to see. Alright, let's get into it. First up, a quick round of bites. Volvo has announced that its forthcoming fully electric flagship SUV, a successor to the Volvo's XC90, will be unveiled June 30, featuring its LiDAR technology developed by Luminar and powered by NVIDIA DriveOn. That's basically a specific chip designed for autonomy driving. Beyond the usual sensor suite, this semi-autonomous system will use AI and key functions like steering and while braking, and the hardware will be ready for actually going to level 4 and 5 as it's actually available in every market and territory. I'll leave more details in the links below. The next two stories are, to me, interlinked and definitely a case of
hold my beer.
The Victorian government has announced an additional $5 million in funding to expand Victoria's network of fast chargers. In a move that I applaud, regional Victoria will receive 80% of funding available to businesses, councils and community organisations to install electric vehicle charging stations across the state. If you qualify, the link is below. This could be a win-win for motorists and businesses, with potentially 100 additional chargers across Victoria, making charging anxiety, not range anxiety, charging anxiety, a less common feature of driving an electric vehicle. And now to a very awkward segue to New South Wales, where following last week's announcement of Australia's most generous EV incentives, definitely a case of one-upmanship where they trumped Victoria's announcement the week prior, Tim Washington, co-founder of ChargeFox and founder of JetCharge, see this awesome video up here by the way, posted on LinkedIn saying that because of this action, JetCharge will dramatically increase its New South Wales operations, providing meaningful opportunities for many to partake in the EV transition. When government supports, industry will respond. Congratulations to the entire team at New South Wales Gov. Question: did you know that you can pay a company to do an authorized electric conversion of a Toyota Land Cruiser? Yeah? I didn't. Turns out that indeed is very true. With thanks to Vivo Power International that is, and an agreement, well at the moment it's actually a letter of intention, in about 60 days it will be an actual agreement, they've partnered with Toyota to make this a reality. A few details from this article by Bridie Smith. The Vivo Power Toyota 7-year partnership is exclusive for Land Cruiser 70 electrification. It seems that the engine is actually left in place and the electric motors and batteries are somehow added onto the four-wheel drive. This follows multiple successful trials over the last several years where converted electric Land Cruisers in Australia have been in mines, in outback Australia, and famously this shot. No doubt, its applications are far and wide, and I look forward to seeing this both in business but also to see maybe individuals get on board with it. Given that, Toyota, they actually sell more than 25,000 Land Cruisers a year. And so therefore, we could see private buyers out there do this conversion, which will then mean rampaging around the outback and leaving only tire marks. No exhaust fumes and no massive carbon debt. Before I detail this final story, I want you to honestly answer in the comment section now one of the following. Would you be happy for your electricity company to remotely stop your EV from charging, even if you wanted it to? If not, would you be happy paying a higher rate so that you can charge whenever you wanted to charge? Okay, done? The reason I ask is that some interesting data is emerging from Origin's EV Smart Charging trial. Launched in August 2020, the study will eventually see at least 150 smart chargers enrolled onto Origin's virtual power plant by December 2021. Today, 70 residential chargers and 33 business chargers have been installed. And here's the thing. Origin have been collecting baseline information from their connected chargers, but plans to soon start turning them off when it thinks it needs to. Wait, what? Yes, Origin will remotely control the charging of your EV. To be clear though, people who signed up for this trial are fully aware of this because to be able to join it, they had to be in one of Origin zones and agreed to a EV charger being installed for free. Nice! $2,000 a charger? I would have signed up, but alas, I couldn't. Literally, I was 1 kilometer outside the area. Ugh! The paper goes on to detail things like demographics, installation issues, why people did or didn't go ahead, and more. But for me, the really interesting stuff is in the charging profile and what it means to everyday Australians. First up, how frequent people plug the EV in. The minority actually either plug it in always, when at home, or once per day. But the majority of study participants plugged in once every few days or when the battery reached a certain percentage. That's actually me. And given the results, most likely you? The old myth spruiked by some naysayers, when we all have EVs, everyone will charge at the same time and the grid will melt. No. We don't all plug in at the same time, nor every day. Next observation, most EV drivers plug their car into charge when the battery hits anywhere from 20 to 50%. Whilst there'll be some out there who always plug in, ABCs, no matter the time of day or what day it is, people like me tend to actually wait for that percentage to hit a certain mark. And why would that be? Because solar power. Yep, most people are plugging their EVs in during the day to capture some free energy from the sun. Origin's study did note that COVID and working from home may have skewed their trial data somewhat, but as you can see here, people tended to plug in anywhere from 9 a.m. in the morning, peaking at 5 p.m. at night. Additionally, the spread of day of the week was, I think, relatively even, with only Thursday being a standout. What I try to do is over the weekend, I charge it up for free using solar and as much as I can, and then I run it down across the week, and then maybe by Wednesday or Thursday, I think, yep, time to recharge the car. And finally, this chart is what I think is the best summary of the data. Times when people charge. See those 3 blue hills? That's when power demand for EV charging was at its greatest. 11:30 a.m? Solar, anyone? 6 p.m? Oh, I just got home. And 10:30 or 11 p.m? I've set my car to charge when nothing else is going on and I'm sleeping. Mentioned in the paper is that in this study, more than 90% of trial participants actually had solar power, with 20% even having a battery. So charging during the day is a no-brainer. But hey, right now, 0.7% of people in Australia have electric vehicles. These people, me, maybe you, are all early adopters. And the paper actually classifies them as such and terms them as innovators. And, well, you have to excuse Origin for this one. Tinkerers. No, not that sort of tinkerer. No. They call them people who are highly engaged with energy and passionate about new concepts, technologies, and very conscious of both energy consumption and cost. So it's fair to say that this trial is biased to early adopters, people who are passionate about saving the planet, and are already engaged in reducing costs by having solar, battery, electric vehicle, and you get the idea here. But looking forward, we need to remember that whilst Australia has the largest penetration of rooftop solar anywhere in the world, only 30% of households have it. So not too long from now, most people will be relying on the grid to actually recharge their electric vehicle. So here's my 2-sentence summary of Origin's findings. EV drivers don't all charge at the same time, and EV owners don't charge every day. I welcome this trial by Origin as it debunks the myth that EV drivers will cause the grid to collapse. However, my fear is that by capturing data on EV charging patterns, electricity providers will be able to offer incentives, great, but also price pain points to either encourage or discourage people to charge at a time that minimizes costs to business and inconvenience to the consumer. In Australia, most retail customers are typically on either a flat or two-tier price system. But the reality is that for companies who actually sell the electricity, they're charged by half-hour increments, and the cost can vary anywhere wildly from $80 per megawatt hour, that's like 8 cents per kilowatt hour, to as high as $200 or more. And I really do mean more. When this occurs, businesses, the electricity businesses that is, they have to absorb these costs. Whereas for homeowners, we don't feel that price. We've actually signed up to a flat kilowatt hour price, and there's also a guaranteed maximum level that we're charged as well by legislation. So my pessimistic take on this article is that they actually want to understand EV charging habits and control when the car is charged by this smart charger to minimize costs to them. As a consumer, if you're happy with this arrangement, knowing that it's going to save you money, great, but perhaps you might leave you with an EV that isn't fully charged as much as you like. For others, it won't be a good fit. And I'm definitely firmly in that banned camp. So, having heard all that, have you changed your mind? Did you already post a comment down below? I really do want to hear from you. Please do comment and let me know what your thoughts are on this. Again, for me, I only like travel 10 to 30 kilometers per day. And because I've got the solar battery and a variable energy plan from Amber, I'm very conscious of the weather, the electricity amount, and what the state of charge of my car is, knowing full well that I confidently can do the number of kilometers it says it will be able to do, and I just plug it in every 2, 3, or even 4 days. Alrighty, well, look, that will wrap it up for this rather short episode. This next week, there's going to be some fun, exciting stuff. I'm finally going to be doing my MG ZS EV review, so look out for that one. Daniel Bleakley will be on the channel, and a lot more fun stuff. So if you haven't already, do subscribe. It's free. I can't say that anymore. Smash that like button, share this on your socials, leave me a comment, all the usual stuff. But if you want to really support the channel and you want to see this sort of content more often, behind the scenes, stuff that I just can't show you here on YouTube, do consider joining me over here on Patreon, where from as little as like 60 cents per week or $2.50 per month, you get all this and more. And hey guys, girls, you be good and you be green.